My cousin stole the money for my daughter's surgery and went to Hawaii. Kids are strong, they'll heal, but her trip turned into a nightmare. My name is Daniel, and this is a story of how my world fell apart because of someone I trusted, my cousin Carla. It all began 6 years ago when my daughter Valeria was born. That day should have been filled with joy, but instead, my wife Anna and I received news that left us frozen. Valeria had congenital clubfoot. Her tiny feet were twisted inward, a condition the doctors said could be corrected with treatments and surgeries, but it would cost a lot. Anna and I had nothing. I worked as a mechanic in a shop, and she cleaned houses occasionally. We could barely cover rent and food, let alone an expensive treatment. From that moment, I swore I'd do whatever it took for my daughter. Anna and I started saving every penny we could. I stopped buying clothes, stopped going out with friends, and worked overtime whenever possible. Anna did the same, cleaning houses even on weekends. We took turns caring for Valeria, who grew up beautiful despite her condition. She couldn't walk well, tired quickly, and sometimes cried because her legs hurt, but she always had a smile that gave me strength to keep going. The doctors told us the surgeries needed to happen before her bones hardened, or it would be harder to correct. We had time, but not much. The years passed, and life gave us no break. When Valeria was 3, Anna had a heart attack. It was sudden. One morning while she was making breakfast, I found her on the kitchen floor with a broken mug beside her. I called 911, but they didn't arrive in time. My wife, my partner, the mother of my daughter died, and I was left alone with Valeria. The pain was unbearable. I thought about giving up 1,000 times, but I looked at my daughter and knew I couldn't. She needed me. I buried Anna with help from my family and pushed forward for Valeria. My only goal was to save enough for her surgeries. I kept saving, took out small loans, and did extra jobs. My older sister, Patricia, helped by watching Valeria when I was at the shop. Slowly, the money grew. After 6 years of effort, when Valeria turned 6, I had saved $55,000. It wasn't easy, but I'd done it. I was ready to pay for the surgeries that would give my daughter a normal life. Then Carla came into the picture. Carla is my cousin, the daughter of a distant aunt. She was always a bit rebellious, the kind of person who never stays in one place. She didn't have a steady job or big responsibilities. A few months ago, she temporarily moved in with Patricia, my sister, saying she needed a place to stay while she found her path. I didn't dislike her, but we weren't close either. When she heard about Valeria, she came to me. "Daniel, I'm going to help you however I can," she said. "That girl deserves to be okay." Her words sounded sincere, and I was so exhausted from carrying everything alone that I believed her. I told her I'd saved $55,000 and that it was in a bank account. I asked for advice on managing the money until the surgery, and she offered to help organize it. "Let me look at the account statements," she said. "I can make sure everything's in order." I trusted her. I gave her access to the account, thinking she was family, that she'd never hurt me. It was the worst mistake of my life. One day, a few weeks ago, I woke up with a bad feeling. I couldn't explain it, just a gut instinct. I tried calling Carla to ask about some papers she requested for organizing, but she didn't answer. I went to Patricia's house, and my sister told me Carla had left that morning with a suitcase. She said she was visiting a friend, Patricia explained, but her voice trembled. Something inside me screamed to check the money. I rushed to the bank that afternoon. When I asked for the account balance, the clerk looked at me with pity. "I'm sorry, sir," he said. "The account is empty. Someone withdrew everything 2 days ago." He showed me the transactions. A $55,000 transfer to another account, and the name tied to it was Carla's. I felt the air leave my lungs. My legs shook, and I had to sit down. All the money, all those years of sacrifice, gone. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't think clearly. I went home with my heart in my hands, trying to fathom how someone could be so cruel. That night, as I tried to calm down, I got a message from Carla. It was a photo of her on a beach, wearing a straw hat, holding a cocktail. Below it, she wrote, "Daniel, don't worry so much. Valeria will be fine. Kids are tough. I went to Hawaii to clear my head. I'll pay you back someday. Enjoy life. I couldn't believe it. My cousin had stolen my daughter's money and was spending on a vacation like it was nothing. I didn't sleep that night. I kept staring at the photo, watching as Carla posted more on social media. Pictures of luxury hotels, expensive shopping, dinners with ocean views. Each post was like a knife in my chest. The family found out quickly. My Aunt Carla's mom called me crying. "Forgive me, Daniel," she said. "I don't know what's wrong with my daughter. I swear we'll fix this." Other relatives texted me, offering apologies and small bits of help, but nothing could replace what I'd lost. Patricia was devastated, blaming herself for letting Carla stay with her. I couldn't comfort anyone. I could barely hold myself together. The next day, Carla posted again, this time a short video of her walking on a beach with palm trees. "Life is for living," the caption read. "Valeria will be fine. Daniel, relax." Downplaying my daughter's condition, as if her twisted feet were a passing cold, filled me with a rage I'd never felt. That girl, my little one, depended on me. The doctors had said the surgeries were urgent, that the longer we waited, the harder it would be. And now, because of Carla, I had nothing. I spent days thinking about what to do. I couldn't sit idly while Carla spent my daughter's money. My friends told me to talk to the family, to try reasoning with her, but I knew that wouldn't work. Valeria was at home, asking when we'd fix her feet. I didn't know what to tell her. I said soon that everything would be okay, but inside, I was breaking. The family could apologize all they wanted. Carla's excuses meant nothing to me. I had to act. I couldn't keep going like this. One night, as I watched Valeria sleep, her little twisted feet under the blanket, I made a decision. I was going to take legal action against Carla. I didn't know exactly how or where to start, but I was certain I wouldn't let her get away with it. She could be in Hawaii, spending what belonged to my daughter, but I wasn't giving up. I was going to fight for Valeria, for justice, for everything I'd lost. After realizing Carla had stolen the $55,000 I'd saved for Valeria's surgery, I couldn't just stand by. The decision I made that night, watching my daughter sleep, to pursue legal action wasn't just an impulse. It was a necessity. I didn't know where to begin, but I was clear I wouldn't let Carla keep spending my daughter's money like it was nothing. The next day, I called Patricia. She was as shattered as I was, and when I told her my plan, she didn't hesitate. "Daniel, we'll do whatever it takes," she said. "Carla's not getting away with this." The first thing we did was sit down and figure out how to prove what she'd done. We had no legal experience, but we knew we needed solid evidence. Patricia brought her laptop, and we started going through everything we had. The most obvious proof was Carla's social media posts. Since she left for Hawaii, she hadn't stopped posting photos and videos, her on the beach, buying expensive clothes, eating at fancy restaurants. Each post was a slap in the face, but also evidence. Patricia created a folder on her computer and began saving everything. Screenshots of the photos, the captions, the dates. "This shows she's spending a ton of money all at once," Patricia said. "And we all know she didn't have anything saved before this." Then we reviewed the conversations I'd had with Carla before she left. We'd texted about the money. I'd written things like, "Thanks for helping me organize it," and "Make sure everything's set for Valeria's appointment." She replied with vague responses like, "Relax, I've got it under control." But after the theft, she sent that cruel message from Hawaii. "Daniel, don't worry so much. Valeria will be fine. Kids are tough. I went to Hawaii to clear my head. I'll pay you back someday." I saved every word. Patricia printed the conversations and added them to a folder with the screenshots of her posts. It was something, but we knew we needed more. I decided to check the bank transactions again. I went to the bank and requested a detailed report of the account. The clerk gave me a sheet showing the $55,000 transfer to another account in Carla's name. I couldn't believe how brazen she'd been. She didn't even try to hide it or use a fake name. I noted every detail. The date, the time, the account number the money went to. Patricia suggested finding witnesses, someone who could confirm what happened. We remembered that Patricia's neighbor, Marta, had seen Carla leave with a suitcase that day. We went to talk to her. Yeah, I saw her, Marta said. She had a big suitcase and seemed in a hurry. She told me she was visiting a friend but didn't give details. We asked her to write down what she remembered and sign it, and she agreed. It wasn't much, but it was another piece of the puzzle. With all that in hand, the screenshots, the conversations, the bank transactions, Marta's statement. Patricia and I thought we had enough to go to the police. We were wrong. We went to the local station one morning, carrying our folder of evidence. An officer who seemed more interested in his coffee than helping us listen as I explained everything. How I'd saved the money for my daughter's surgery, how Carla had access to the account, how she stole it and was now in Hawaii spending it. I showed him the posts, the conversations, the bank transactions, Marta's statement. He flipped through the papers like they were junk mail. Look, he said finally, this sounds more like a civil matter than a criminal one. She had access to the account and was living with your sister. So, technically, it's not a forced theft. My advice? Take it to small claims court. They can sort it out there. I was stunned. Small claims court. I repeated, incredulous. She stole $55,000 for my daughter's surgery. How is that not criminal? The officer shrugged. It's tricky when it's family and she had permission to access the account. If you want, we can file a report, but I can't promise anything. His attitude infuriated me. It was clear he didn't want to deal with the case, that it seemed like too much work. Patricia tried to push, but he just gave us a phone number and told us to call if anything else happened. We left empty-handed, heart sinking. That night, desperation got the better of me. I couldn't sleep, thinking about Valeria, her twisted feet, how I'd failed her. I grabbed my phone and started texting Carla. Please, stop spending the money. It's for Valeria's surgery. Whatever's left can save her. Give it back. I'm begging you. I sent message after message, pleading with her to stop, to think of my daughter, but she didn't reply. The next day, I saw she posted another photo, her on a yacht, smiling like she owned the world. She ignored me completely. It was clear she didn't care, that she'd keep living her trip without looking back. That gave me a new push. If the police wouldn't help, I'd find more evidence myself. I went back to the bank, but this time I asked for something specific. The security camera footage from the day Carla withdrew the money. The manager looked at me oddly, but I explained the situation and showed him the transfer report. I need to see it with my own eyes, I said. After a while, he agreed. I sat in a small office and watched the video. There was Carla walking into the bank, talking to the teller, signing something, and leaving with a smile. It was her, no doubt. The manager gave me a copy of the video on a USB, saying it was the most he could do. I guarded it like gold. That was solid proof, something no one could deny. Then I pulled out the medical appointment paper I'd been preparing for Valeria. It was a hospital document with a surgery date, the estimated cost, and a note from the doctor saying it was urgent. I added it to the rest of the evidence. It showed the money had a clear purpose, that it wasn't mine to spend freely, and that Carla had no permission to touch it. All that was left was to keep collecting Carla's posts. Every new photo, every comment about her trip, was more proof she was using the money for herself. Patricia and I took turns checking her social media, saving everything she posted. Look at this, Patricia said one night, showing me a photo of Carla with an expensive handbag. That's not something someone with no money buys. With all that, the bank video, the medical paper, the posts, the conversations, Marta's statement, the bank transactions, I felt I had a strong case. The police might not want to help, but I wasn't giving up. I called a friend from the shop who knew a lawyer and asked him to connect me. I spoke with the lawyer on the phone and told him everything. This isn't for small claims, he said. With this evidence, we can go for a serious civil lawsuit. Let's schedule it for next month and prepare it well. That afternoon, I signed the papers to start the process. The trial was set for a month later. I didn't know if I'd recover the money in time for Valeria, but I was ready to fight. Carla could ignore me all she wanted, but soon she'd have to face me in court. A week had passed since I scheduled the trial against Carla. That time was a mix of anxiety and hope. On one hand, I had the evidence ready, the bank video, Carla's posts, the bank transactions, everything Patricia and I had gathered. On the other, I couldn't stop thinking about Valeria. Every day, without the money, was a day further from her surgery. She kept asking in her soft voice when we'd fix her feet. I told her soon. But the truth was, I didn't know if I'd make it in time. The trial was a month away, and though I trusted the evidence, there was no guarantee the money would come back quickly. Then, one afternoon, my Aunt Elena, Carla's mom, called. Her voice trembled, like she'd been crying. "Daniel, please, we need to talk," she said. "It's about Carla and the lawsuit. Can we meet at our house?" I didn't want to go. I was fed up with the family's apologies, but something in her tone made me agree. I called Patricia and told her. "Let's go together," she said. "We don't know what they want, but you're not facing this alone." So that night, with a heavy heart, I went to my aunt and uncle's house with my sister by my side. When I arrived, everyone was there: Elena, my Uncle Reuben, some cousins. The tension in the air was thick enough to cut with a knife. I sat on the couch, and Elena spoke first. "Daniel, we know what Carla did," she said, her eyes red. "There are no words to ask for your forgiveness. When we heard about the lawsuit, we realized how serious this is." Reuben, who was always quiet, looked up and added, "She's our daughter and we love her, but what she did is no excuse. We want to fix it." Then they handed me an envelope. I opened it. Inside was $12,000 in cash. I looked at the money, then at them, confused. "What is this?" I asked. Elena took a deep breath. "It's a down payment," she said. "We know it's not everything, but it's what we could gather quickly. We're asking you, please, to cancel the lawsuit. Carla's young. She's 25. If she loses, she could face years in prison, and we don't know if she'd handle it." Reuben put a hand on his wife's shoulder and looked at the floor. "We don't want Valeria to suffer, Daniel. We'll make Carla pay, we swear, but give us a chance to resolve this as a family." That money in my hands gave me a breath I hadn't expected. $12,000 wasn't the $55,000 I needed, but it was something tangible, a step toward Valeria's surgery. I looked at Patricia, seeking her opinion. She frowned but didn't say anything, leaving it to me. Then I looked at Elena and Reuben. Their faces were full of pain and shame. I remembered when we were kids, when Carla and I played in their backyard. I didn't want to destroy my family, but I couldn't forget what happened. "Okay," I said finally. "I'll take the money and cancel the lawsuit for now, but you have until the original trial date to pay me the rest. If you don't, I'll refile." "Understood." Elena nodded quickly, tears streaming. "Yes, Daniel, thank you. We promise we'll do it." Reuben shook my hand, and the others murmured thanks and more apologies. 2 days later, Carla returned from Hawaii. Patricia called me that morning to tell me. "I just saw her arrive at my house," she said. "Her parents were waiting, and they didn't look happy." I didn't go see her. I wasn't ready to face her yet. But I heard from my aunt that the reunion wasn't pretty. Elena and Reuben were furious. They yelled at her for hours, telling her she betrayed the family, that her selfishness nearly ruined Valeria's life. Patricia told me she overheard Reuben say, "You're leaving this house right now. You're not staying here after what you did." They kicked her out of Patricia's house and took her to theirs, determined to make her face the consequences. The following days were chaos for Carla. Her parents forced her to find a job, to start paying the debt. At first, she resisted, saying, "I'll pay it back when I can," but they gave her no choice. They took her to a clothing store where a friend of Reuben's offered her a job, making it clear every penny would go to me. But Carla didn't last a week. She was fired for showing up late and arguing with customers. Her attitude hadn't changed, and that only infuriated her parents more. They took harsher measures. They went through everything she brought back from Hawaii: expensive bags, designer clothes, jewelry, and sold it. Carla screamed and cried, but it didn't matter. This is what happens when you steal. Elena told her, "You're going to learn, even if it's the hard way." The final blow came from my great-uncle, Carla's grandfather. He was a stern man of few words, but highly respected in the family. One night, He organized a meeting at his house and called Carla. Everyone was there, her parents, her siblings, aunts, uncles. He sat her down in front of everyone and spoke plainly. "You're a disgrace to this family. What you did to Daniel and that little girl is unforgivable. If you don't change, don't expect us to welcome you back with open arms ever again." Those words broke her. For the first time, they say, Carla lowered her head and didn't speak. The rejection from her grandfather, someone she always wanted to impress, hit harder than any shouting. Meanwhile, I started seeing the money come in bit by bit. The $12,000 was the start. Then came smaller payments, $5,000 from Reuben, $3,000 from a cousin, $2,000 from a sale Elena made. It wasn't fast, but added up. With every dollar, I got closer to Valeria's surgery. I spoke with the hospital and explained the situation. They gave me an extension to gather the rest. And with the family's payments, I was finally able to schedule the operation. The date was set for 2 months later, and when I told Valeria, her eyes lit up. "Really, Daddy?" she asked. "Really," I said and hugged her tight. One day, while going over the numbers with Patricia, I got a message from Carla. "Daniel, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have done what I did. I've paid everything. I won't bother you anymore." She'd sent the final chunk of the money that morning, completing the $55,000. I looked at the message but didn't reply. I had nothing to say to her. My priority was Valeria, not Carla. I put the phone away and went on with my day, focusing on what mattered, my daughter. The family dynamic changed after that. Carla was left alone, working whatever job she could, but no one looked at her the same. Her parents let her stay in their house, but the relationship was broken. Patricia said she sometimes saw her quiet, like she finally understood what she'd lost. I didn't feel pity. She chose her path, and I chose mine. Valeria's surgery went perfectly. Her feet began to straighten, and though it would take time and therapy, the doctors told me she'd walk normally someday. Seeing her take her first steps without pain was everything I needed. The story ended with a clear lesson. Carla's selfishness cost her dearly. She lost her family's respect, her luxuries, her freedom. I, with my determination, took back what belonged to my daughter. It wasn't easy, but it was worth every second of the fight. Now, as I watch Valeria play, I know I did the right thing. That's what matters.